Welcome to the Livfiit Listens podcast, a safe space of growth, personal development, and overall wellness with your host, Olivia Catania. Diving into the realms of all things health, conscious living, mental expansion, and much more, this podcast is designed to help you evolve into your best self and live fit. Let's get into the show. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Livfiit Listens podcast. I hope you guys are doing very well. I am back from my trip to New York. I was there for about 10 days and it was so wholesome. Like, I spent so much family time, like literally basically every single, well, obviously, especially with my immediate family, it was every single day, but even my extended family, I was there like with them 5 out of my 10 days with being home. And it just felt so good, you guys, to have community like that again. And like, I grew up with my childhood best friends across the street from me, which was also so fun and so wholesome. And they also still live there. So I was just able to see them again, and just being able to have that just community at the drop of a hat all the time was so nice. Like, even just being able to reach out to my childhood friends and be like, hey, do you want to go for a walk for an hour, and have us walk across the street to each other and just be able to go for a walk around town, or just being able to go stop at my grandma's house for dinner after like a day of errands, like stuff like that. I miss so much from like not living at home anymore. I grew up in upstate New York, obviously that's where I'm from, and I moved here to Utah about 5 years ago. So I still don't really have, like, I feel like even if I did have that friend community, nothing really ever hits like your actual family and like friendships and bonds you've built since childhood. So that's really what I'm so grateful for in today's episode, is just community and being able to experience that again. Just all the whole time I was home, just being able to have that community daily at the drop of a hat, in and out, was just so fulfilling. And I really have come back to Utah with a full cup. And the older I get, the more I value that, just because the more I realize how rare that really is, and how rare it is to have a present relationship with your family and like your extended family. So I just was soaking that up. And I honestly, once I left, I was like, oh, I wish I didn't leave. Like, I had regrets for leaving when I did. I was like, maybe I just should have stayed. But my takeaway from the trip was like, I need to come home more often, because coming back once a year just like isn't enough, because I don't have time to like see everyone to the depths that I want to see them. But so anyways, that's my gratitude today. It is community. And for today's episode, this is like a bite-sized one, but I just wanted to share it and like give you this reminder. It is to really act on your soul's pulls and like nudges that you receive. And we all know what I'm talking about when you have something that kind of pops into your head, like, oh, maybe that would be a good idea to join a run club, or, oh my gosh, like maybe I should go do a pottery class, or, oh my gosh, maybe I should go do a dance class, or maybe I feel the urge, like, maybe you wake up one day and you're like, I kind of maybe like today's a good day to go work at a coffee shop. Like, these little hits and pings of kind of like direction that come from within us. Like, I just fully believe those are from something greater and something bigger than us. And I think that they serve a purpose. Even if it's something small that we may not realize, we're still getting that hit and pull and nudge for a reason, and we need to listen to it. And like, I'm also making this episode for me because I kind of have been the queen of that lately, to be honest. Like, I will be like, oh, that, especially because I'm someone who, which I love this about myself, but also it can kind of be my demise in a sense. Like, I kind of have interest in everything. Like, I think everything's cool. Every hobby is cool. I want to be able to try to do every hobby. Like, I want to be able to live all the different lives that come with all the hobbies. So I'll tend to be like, oh, that's so cool. Like, I should do that. And then I don't really always follow through on it all the time, or I'll get these pings to go somewhere or do something at a certain time, and I don't really always listen. And I remember a few years ago when I was really intentional with trying to strengthen my intuition. And it started with me, like, that was a starting point for me, was just really acting on these initial, like, the first thought that you have, I was acting on those things. So like, if I randomly was like, oh, it sounds nice to paint my nails red, I would go paint my nails red, instead of just kind of thinking that is just a passing thought with like no real significance. I was just taking everything at face value and trusting my gut and trusting my innate like pull and urges. And I swear, when I was doing that, like, my intuition was so heightened and so strengthened, and I felt so connected to myself. I just felt like I really was living in alignment with like my true soul and like my true path. Again, even if they were small micro actions, they still hold their place and they still are there for a reason. There's still some sense of significance in that. And so, to give you a real life example, I actually thought to join a run club a few months ago, honestly. And I just assumed, because I kind of have been getting into running for the past like year or so. I don't do anything crazy, but like I still kind of enjoy it. And I thought like, oh, like, doing a run club would kind of be a good idea, but I just assumed that there wasn't any in my town because I kind of live in a smaller town. There's an older demographic and I just didn't think it would be here. I thought I would have to drive to Salt Lake City for that, which isn't even a big deal, but I just was like, I don't know, like it's obviously a bigger barrier to entry than having just something right here in my town that's 5 minutes away. But so then I kind of just like didn't really do any digging into it to look into it. And then a couple weeks ago when I was at yoga, someone actually told me, coincidentally, I didn't even ask, it just came up in conversation, that we do have a run club in our town and that he goes every Wednesday. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like there's actually a run club in this town. And so this is a perfect example of like something that I kind of had the urge to do, but because of feeling like nervous to be in a new environment, like nerves of meeting new people, maybe just nerves of being in a new environment, like a lot of the times we prevent ourselves from going or doing the thing that we are getting this nudge to do. Like we talk ourselves out of it. We negotiate with ourselves. Because the thing is, there's this quote that your mind will always choose a familiar hell rather than an unfamiliar heaven. And so often we are just doing our same routine every day, day in and day out, living on autopilot, even if it's not lighting us up, simply just because it's comfortable, it's safe, and it's known. And a lot of people don't want to feel the uncomfortability of like being in a new environment, of meeting new people, of doing something that's out of your routine. But at the same time, like staying in the same old, especially if it's not serving you, especially if it's not lighting you up, especially if it feels stale, like putting in that extra effort to get yourself into new situations, get yourself into new spaces goes so far. And it takes you giving yourself a little kick in the butt, because there's so many things that sound great in theory, right? We don't really have any real reasons why we shouldn't go, but we just don't, simply because it's taking more effort to like get us to do something different than our normal habitual routine. So I've been kind of trying to make some action to give myself that push to really make that change and like do something new in my routine. So one of those things is like a run club. So I'm going to start going to that. But the big thing that actually compelled and sparked this episode is that last night I genuinely went to a beginner's hip hop class, which I know sounds so out of left field, but let me just tell you something. Like, I can't help that the Cheetah Girls raised me. Okay, that was like my number one when I was 8-9 years old is when I think I first discovered them. I was obsessed with them. My mom would get me cheetah print everything because I loved them. They made me love the cheetah, the animal. Like, I remember I did that. I might have been younger because I think I did that for a 5th grade project. You had to like research an animal, and I chose a cheetah because of the Cheetah Girls. I'm not even kidding you. And so that obviously has the whole like dance and music component. I loved the movie Step Up growing up with Channing Tatum and Jenna Dewan. Thank you. Like, I was raised by those types of movies, and I always thought dance was so cool. I danced a little bit when I was younger, nothing serious at all, but I stopped around like middle school. I also did some plays in middle school. So I have another like weird side of me that really likes that kind of stuff. And I, at the end of the day, just think it's fun. And I also, in my spiritual side, think it's such a great way to like tap into your flow, your creativity, your expression, your feminine energy. And I think there's just so much that I do that's so rigid in my quote unquote masculine energy of like lifting is so rigid and stiff and strict. And my routine with work and business and all that sort of stuff, it's just so refreshing to be able to have fun and like do something in a flow state, you know what I mean? So I originally got this urge because I actually rewatched Step Up somewhat recently, like 2-3 weeks ago. And then I also watched the movie Bring It On, the cheerleading movie. And it was like getting me juiced up. I was like, you know what? Like, I should go to a dance class. Like, it's just fun. I should go do that. But that's like the perfect example of something that like in theory would be like, oh, that's cool. But then I don't act on it and I don't actually do it, even though I'm having that soul pull and like nudge and call and interest for a reason. Like, I would just be like, that's cool in theory, but like, great, I'm going to leave it at that and not let it come into fruition. And so when I had that, that urge, then I was leaving for New York for 10 days. And then when I just came back a few days ago, I was like, oh my gosh, I think when I was looking up dance classes in Salt Lake, is a hip hop class on Monday. And this was yesterday on a Monday. And I was like, it was 3 p.m. at this point. I was at the gym. I was like, I said that I wanted to go. I just so happened to think of it again. I still have time to make it to the class at 6. Like, I definitely could go. And so I was like, you know what? I need to stop making excuses. I need to not be scared. I need to just stop letting things fizzle out for no real reason. I need to follow through on this. So I booked the class and I went, and it was so fun. Like, there was people of all ages. It was super, super chill, like super, super basic, but it was just fun to be there in a new environment with new people doing something that I genuinely think is fun and just like let loose. And I'm just so proud of myself for going. And it's something I definitely would want to go do again. And again, I think it's just an ode to like put yourself in new environments. Don't be afraid to try new things, because you're never going to know what's going to be a great experience, what's going to light you up, what may spark different ideas, all these different things. Like, you also don't know if you get a random urge to go to a coffee shop or to try this pottery class, that even if you've never done pottery before, you don't know who you're going to meet there. You don't know what conversation you're going to have there. You don't know what, like, it could spark so many other things that you may not realize on face value. Like, maybe, no, you going to the pottery class is not going to make you a professional artist, no, but maybe you're going to meet someone there who ends up being your business partner in the sports field or something down the road, or you're going to have a conversation that really sparked and gave you clarity of a direction for your life, or an idea for something that you want to do, or a gap in the market that you realize. It's like, I think that you have these urge to be in these new environments and do these new things for a reason. And even if it's simply just at the simplest core of it, if it's simply just for you to have fun and like experience more life, that to me is obviously such a big enough reason to get yourself to go. And I don't think we realize how much we keep ourselves stuck and in boxes and really living with a lack of passion and just kind of like on a diluted plane of life, because we're not doing things actively to spice things up, to add vibrancy, to add excitement and add that passion into our life. And doing that really just comes down to these little decisions that we write off that we don't think are that important, but they are. Like, they add up to something bigger, and they may seem like small moments, but they could carry bigger things within them. So I just want to make this episode to you. If you have an urge to go try a random class, even if it's something that seems cringe, which I kind of felt like the hip hop class was going to be cringe, but I was like, I'm just going to go. I'm going to go enjoy myself. I don't know who I'm going to meet. I could just have such a good time. Like, what else am I doing? I'm only young once. Like, simply, I remember when I was like 15, I genuinely remember thinking to myself, I just want to be rich in experiences in life. Like, I'm kind of okay with being a jack of all trades and master of none, to be honest with you, or whatever the saying is. Like, I just want to taste everything. I just want to experience. Like, I don't know why, but to me, that's always been so attractive. Like, I just want to know. Maybe it's because I'm nosy. Like, I just want to know what everything is like. I want to know what the experience is like. I want to be able to put myself in other people's shoes. I just want to be able to taste everything, to like fully know all the options and like what all is out there. So I'm totally fine with dipping my fingers in a bunch of different pies just to taste them, even if I don't commit to eating the whole thing, But so whatever you have an urge to go do, if it's a dance class, a pottery class, going to a coffee shop on a random Tuesday, maybe it's you driving a different way to work, maybe it's you going to a different gym for a day, maybe it's you completely changing a gym membership, maybe it's you changing Pilates studios, whatever it is. And I'm not saying to do something random just for the sake of changing. Like, if you want to do that, that's fine. But I'm just saying, like, don't be afraid to really act on these things, and don't be afraid to take these intuitive nudges and pulls and draws that you're feeling inside. Don't be afraid to take them seriously. Like, you don't always need to write them off. You don't need to think that, oh, it's just a passing thought, there's no significance. Like, they're coming up for a reason, and acting on those things are very powerful, and you never know what can come of it. And the last thing I want to say is, I am a believer in divine timing, kind of just in the concept that, like, when things are right, they'll be more aligned, like the path forward will be more clear. And I still believe that, and I think that's true, and I think that kind of holds true for something like this run club. Like, I just genuinely didn't really feel, the concept of a run club sounded fun, but I didn't really feel this strong pull to like go seek something out, as opposed to I did with the dance class. I did feel the pull to like go Google, hip hop classes in my area and in Salt Lake City. So I think like there's still, two truths can exist at the same time. And I think that it is going to be dependent on everyone's situation. Like, I do kind of feel like the run club thing has happened in divine timing of just like when things are aligned. that came into my awareness that there is a run club in my town. But then on the contrary of it, like we can't always simply just depend on divine timing, because I think sometimes that's like a scapegoat or a way to like bypass any sort of actual responsibility for implementing things and like initiating change in our life. And for me, that was like the dance class. Like instead of me waiting for the perfect time or something to fall in my lap, kind of like the run club did, I really did take the initiative to seek something out, make sure I went there, bought the ticket, and like actually showed up to class. So I just kind of wanted to touch on that. Like, yes, divine timing is true. So like, don't necessarily think you need to force everything, but also there's still 100% is that dimension and facet of seeking out the things and putting in effort in order to make that change, rather than just waiting for it to fall in your lap and then waiting forever. So kind of use your discernment, do what feels right, and know when it is time to take that action and make it happen, just like I did with that hip hop class. So that's everything for this episode, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. The affirmation for today's episode is I take action on my soul's pull. I take action on my soul's pull. We have to remember, like, we got to bring magic back to life. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's magic in everything. And I feel like we get into zombie autopilot mode when we just like, yeah, just got to go to work and go to the gym and finish some work at home and then watch TV and go to bed. Like, where's the spark in that? Where's the life? Where's the potency? Where's the vibrancy? Where's the passion in that? You know what I mean? And that comes from us putting in the effort to listen to our soul, to stay in alignment with our soul, act on what our soul is trying to tell us, even if they're just simply one-off experiences. Even if I never go to a dance class again, like I still think there is value in me experiencing that class. Even if I go to a one-off pottery class, like there's still value in that. They still add memories. They still are a vessel for energy and experience that I think goes so far and adds that little extra dose of vibrancy in our life. So it's like, especially for someone who's feeling bored, especially if you feel like you're doing the same thing over and over again, especially if you kind of feel like you're like wasting away, you're like, I'm doing the same thing, I'm only in my 20s once, like I want to do more, then go do more. Like that's kind of how I felt personally, because I don't have the biggest community here. That's kind of was like, I'm like, what else am I doing on a Monday evening? Like I'm going to go home and do work on Livfiit like I do most other nights. Like I'm not going to remember this mundane Monday night of doing the same thing, but I am going to remember me trying this dance class, even if I never go again. And so that's was like the tipping point for me to go. So anyways, I'm so curious if you guys can comment. I think you can comment on Spotify, or if you're listening on YouTube, like comment something, or even if you want to DM me, like comment something that you're going to do that's usually outside of your comfort zone, that like you feel a pull to do, but you just kind of always dismiss it. You kind of brush it off. You never follow through. Let me know what that thing is that you're actually finally going to commit to and try out. Even if it's just a one-time thing, you don't need to put all this pressure on yourself to go for the next 6 months every single week. Like just go once, see how you feel, and go from there. So thank you guys so much for listening. I'm sending you so much love, and hopefully I'll see you in my next epi. Peace out.